Bonjour mes amis, hi guys, and guten Tag to all our German-speaking friends, in particular those in the glass shooter region, where Nomos is now the largest manufacturer of timepieces in Germany. A few months ago, I had the privilege of reviewing their pneumatic sport model, which I really enjoyed. And before we review very soon a brand new watch from the brand, I asked them to take a look at the Tangomat GMT. Now, the staff at Nomos is super kind and a pleasure to deal with. And I think at the image of this company that you just have to love. Even if you don't like some of the design, the very pared down the design sometimes, which is not necessarily my preference. I kind of like busy watches quite often. When you hold a Nomos timepiece, the feel of something unique that's designed through and manufactured by just one firm just comes through, in a sea of watches which all look the same, share parts with other watches. Here, everything is Nomos, including this beautiful manufacturer caliber DUW 5201, which, as you can see, is resplendent. I love the shape of those unique bridges. Most of everything actually is done by hand at Nomos. The milling of the plates, the wheels, the beveling, and you can see hand finishing there on a double spiral on the ratchet wheel. So, what is the Tangomat? I think the Tangente is really the watch that's the most well-known for Nomos. It is what people like to refer to as Bauhaus inspired. To be honest, I am not a student in art or architecture or history of either. And all I know from the Bauhaus movement is really Nomos. So it has really contributed in the wide audience understanding of minimalism and form following function. And the Tangente is the image of this. The Tangomat, as the name indicates, is an automatic movement. It is also wider at 40 millimeters and a more angular, slightly sportier, yet it keeps a lot of the same features on the dial, a rather minimalist approach, form following the function, easy to read. But simplicity is the name here for the blued hands and the indices. And as you know, making simple is always very difficult, especially when you have to add to the design a GMT function, a second time zone. The first thing I have to say when I got this watch for review, you will notice it has a little bit of wear. This is not a brand new watch. This is just for review, but overall top condition. The first thing that struck me is this sort of opaline dial, slightly silvery with a light grain to it. Just a beautiful sheen on the dial. Also, I love how flat it is and the very small dip there for the running seconds on a concentric circle dial there at the 6 o'clock. Now, I know you all want to know what is going on here. You might know, of course, the Zurich model of Nomos. It is one of my favorites because it is a bit busier. It comes in blue, darker colors as well. But in this case, I wanted something closer to the DNA of Nomos, almost white dial. Well, this model here uses the same movement as that world timer Zurich. It just hides most of the locations. And here, rather than have the city names, you have the airport codes. And Thankfully, they have chosen HKG Hong Kong for the current time zone where I am residing. What does the pusher do? Well, as you can guess, when you travel Tokyo, Sydney, I'm not going to try to Numea. I'm not going to try to name every airport. You can adjust your local time when you arrive, should you need to. But you can see the time here doesn't change. This one is your home time. So I know that in Hong Kong, it's about to be 4 in the afternoon. Mexico, New York. And when I come back, I just circle back. There is no date function here, so no date to worry about. And I am back at the 4 in the afternoon. So on a day-to-day basis, you can either, yes, you could use it as a GMT watch, but you can just use it normally and you have an indication of whether you are in the morning or the afternoon time. There is a corrector because, yes, you might travel to a destination that has daylight savings. It's not the case in Hong Kong, and you will have to readjust the connection between your local time and the home time, perhaps. So this is what the pusher is there for. Otherwise, there is stop seconds when you pull the crown to the first position. I let you admire the balance here, which is entirely made now by Nomos, and you can also see their own proprietary swing system, which wasn't present when the watch first came out, but is the evolution of the caliber. And here, when you adjust the time, it will adjust in a synchronized fashion on that window to the right. There you go. So the watch comes on interesting choice of leather. This is a Cordovan, which I like a lot. If you haven't experienced it, I really recommend you to try this one. Completely plain at the top with a stitching. You can see though a bit more the raw fabric on the inside. Shell Cordovan, handmade. You can get that really great feel. It's very supple and yet very sturdy. Signed buckle, of course. Every detail is important with Nomos. And as I said, the case is quite angular, and in particular those lugs, which are very typical of the brand. And you might ask me, on the wrist? Well, on my left wrist, I have something which actually does bear a bit of a familiarity, in the sense that it uses also some of the principles in design of the Bauhaus school. So let's put this on my right wrist, and as you can see, it wears fabulous on me. Yeah, the size makes it a bit sportier, a bit more generous, which makes the integration of the complication quite seamless. And you can see that the lugs stand proud of the wrist. That's the look for this watch. So there you go. This is the Tangomat GMT, a real treat. A real treat to discover, like all the Nomos watches. I'm also a big fan of the Autobahns. Someday it will come in the collection, even though it has been, I think, discontinued. I'm not sure if they still make it. But I like sometimes when brands go a bit quirky, and the Autobahn is that. But this one does not disappoint, and really, if you've been on the fence, it gets my seal of approval. Not that Nomos needs it, because it's a very popular brand, but really gorgeous watch inside and out. Thank you guys for watching, and thanks again to Nomos. Bye bye, guys.